Hi, my name is Heather, and today I'm going to show you how to lay out a page of your children's book for Amazon KDP in Canva. I think Canva is really neat because it's a lot like Photoshop, but it has some really cool collaboration tools and the price is way less than Photoshop. I thought it would be a good option for creating a children's book layout for those of you who don't want to spend a ton of money on Photoshop. To start, we're going to go to the help page on Amazon KDP, set trim size, bleed, and margins, and we're just going to find out what the size of our page needs to be. So we're going to go to examples of page size with and without bleed, and you want to expand that. And then you're just going to find the size of your book on the left, and then you're going to go over to the right and see what your page size needs to be. And if you want an explanation of what bleed is, then check out my video where I explain all of that. I'm going to go with the 8.25 by 8.25 page. That's what I've used in my other tutorials, so I just think it'll be easy to kind of translate it over. So if I pick 8.25 by 8.25 and then I go over here, this is what the size of the page is going to be. 8.375 wide by 8.5 high. If your book is a different size, then you're just going to find your size here and then go over to the right and you're just going to pick the size that corresponds with it. Then we're going to go over to Canva and we will create a design and we're going to do custom size. Change the pixels to inches. I'm going to do 8.375 by 8.5 and then create new design. This is going to be our document that we're going to keep the whole book in, all of the pages. So whenever you want to add a page, you can just click this add page button. One thing that I don't love about it is that it does arrange them all going top down. You can preview them in a grid. If we click on grid view down here, at least you can picture if page 2 and 3 are going to be next to each other, what the spread would look like. But as far as like when you're designing it, you can't really see what it's going to look like. But we'll go over that in the next video, which will be how to create a spread. So don't worry about that for now. For now, we're just going to add however many pages that we want in our book. So we don't even need to add them all now. Like I'll just do 6 for now. And if we click back to here, we'll close our grid view. The first page is always going to be by itself because when you open the book, you're going to have the inside of the left cover on the left side, and then you'll have page 1 on the right side. So whether you choose to leave this blank or make it a title page or whatever, that's up to you. So I'm just going to skip the first 3 pages because, you know, maybe you want a copyright page, a cover page, a dedication, or something like that. And let's start at page 4. Before we import any artwork, first we need to add our guides. Canva does have the option for bleed and margins, but from what I could see, it doesn't seem possible to change those values and make them custom. So we're going to just set some guides ourselves. So if you go over these rulers, and if you don't see the rulers, go to File, View Settings, Show Rulers and Guides. And then you can just drag from a ruler over. On each edge, we're going to set a ruler to 0.125 for the bleed. It doesn't need to be exact because it's just a guide. So you can just kind of drag it and look at that number up there. And you just want it pretty close to 0.125. I also couldn't find a way where you can set it manually, unfortunately. But we can just do that for now and then pull one down and look over on the left, pull one over on the right. This one's not going to say 0.125 on the right because it's actually the distance from the left-hand side. But you can just kind of eyeball it and try to make it about even with the other ones. And then we'll pull the last one in and just kind of eyeball that one. These are the rulers for bleed, which means that anything past these lines is going to get trimmed off. So you do want the artwork to go past the lines. You need it to cover the whole page, but you just don't want anything important to go past these lines. Now we can add rulers for the safe zone. So we're going to drag extra rulers, and it's just going to be double the size of the bleed. So if you see that the bleed goes this far, 0.125, the safe zone is going to be 0.25. Again, you can just kind of eyeball it because it does not seem like there's a way to set it exactly. If anyone does know of a way to set it exactly, let me know, and then I will put it in the comments, like in a pinned comment or something. Now we have the safe zone guides up here. Basically what it means is, like I said before, the outside part will get trimmed off, and then the safe zone is just where you want your text to be inside of, because then there's no chance of cutting it off. The page probably isn't going to get cut off past the bleed, but just in case, you want to make sure you have the text inside the safe zone. Now that we have those set up, we can go ahead and pull in the art. So I'm going to go to File, Import Files, and I'm going to select my art for the page. I'll just click on it, and we can size it to the size of the page, and it will snap to the size, which is nice. If you need to go a little bit bigger, if you want to kind of zoom in a bit, you can do that too. But remember, you don't want to zoom in too much because you don't want it to get blurry. Now that we have the artwork dropped in, we can add the text. So I'm going to click on text over here. You can click any of these, it doesn't really matter. I'll just do subheading. I can move this, and you can have it centered or on the left or on the bottom, you know, whatever works for your layout. And I'm going to enter my text here. And now I can just resize the text box however I want it. Let's add some styles to the text. So I am going to click outside of it, and then I'll click the box so that way the whole box of text is selected. And then I can change the text color. I'll make it white. I can also change the line spacing and the font. There are a ton of fonts in Canva, and if you get the paid version of Canva, you'll get even more. But even without the paid version, there really are just so many fonts. I always try to pick one that will be relatively easy to read for the young kids, but it is also fun to find one with like a little bit of personality. I'm happy with this font, and now I'm going to go to Effects, and there's a couple different things you can do over here. One is you can add a drop shadow, so I wouldn't really need it for this page, but sometimes the background might be a little bit busy, and so you just need the text to kind of stand out a little more. What I like to do is click on Color and click on the Add a New Color, and then do the eyedropper, and then you can select the color that's like right behind the text, so it would be like this green. And then just make it a little bit darker. And add a little bit of a blur. It'll be different for each page design, what looks good and what doesn't look good. But basically, I try to make it very subtle so that it's not really obvious, but it just kind of makes the text pop a little bit. You can change offset so it doesn't like stand out so much, and bring the transparency down a little bit and just make it not super obvious. And that way the text just pops. And then another neat thing you can do, and I wouldn't do this on every page, but maybe just, you know, one or two if it makes sense for the page, is that you can add the curve to the text. You can modify it down here. So it doesn't make total sense for mine, but let's say if I had less text, so if it was just this sentence, then it might look pretty neat. But I'm going to keep it like this, and then I'm going to actually duplicate this block, and I'll bring it down here because I have some more text that goes down there. Pay attention to the center guide here if you have centered text, and try to make your text so that it is the same distance from the left and the right, just to kind of make sure everything lines up. And that's it. This would be the layout for this page. If I wanted to download just this page, I could go to Share and then Download, and I could either pick like a JPEG or a PDF. It kind of depends on what you're using it for. If you're just kind of sharing it to say, hey, what do you think of this design? You could do JPEG, but if it's actually for KDP, then you would want to pick the PDF print. However, you're really going to wait until all your pages are done before you export it as like one big PDF. But when you do export it as a PDF, you're just going to make sure you pick flatten PDF, and you don't need to check the crop marks and bleed. Since Canva doesn't have custom bleed, then we don't care about Canva's bleed. So we're not going to export that. And we're not going to include any notes. And then you can just select your pages here. So again, if you're done with your book, you can pick all pages. You do need to upgrade to Canva Pro for CMYK. But what I would do is just select RGB, export it, upload it to KDP, see if it prints okay first. And then if it doesn't, then you can try doing CMYK, because I've been lazy about doing things in CMYK format pretty much my whole life. And as far as KDP goes, my books have come out fine, even if I used RGB format. So I wouldn't really upgrade right away. I would just wait and see if it looks okay. And then if it does, then just don't worry about it. And then you can just click download. But stay tuned for the rest of the videos that I'm going to make in this series. I'll do how to create a spread in Canva and how to do the cover and anything else that you will need to know to publish your children's book. If you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments, or you can always email me at heather@heathercash.com. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so I know to make more videos like this. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.